The hardest part of doing that video is keeping it to 5 minutes with all the Team Penske highlights there has. We could have easily filled a lot more time. Nice to be here. Thanks again for being out here. We have two very special guests from the Penske organization. I want to tell you a little bit about Team Penske, even though most of you, I think this is probably your root memory. They have produced more than 660 major race wins, 700 poles, 48 national championships, and that includes stock car, open car, sports car competition. Some of the biggies that they've done: 20 Indianapolis 500s, 20 Borg Warner trophies have gone to Penske. That's incredible. 3 Daytona 500 championships, a Formula One win, and victories in the 24 hours of Daytona and the 12 hours of Sebring. And we'll go into that a little bit later on about all the details of that. But that's sometimes numbers don't tell the story. I think with this organization, numbers are a big part of the story. Give you the background on two of our guests here, and we'll have them come up on stage. First of all, this guy is from Raleigh, North Carolina. He attended North Carolina State University, picked up a degree in mechanical engineering there. He is the president of the NTT INDYCAR and IMSA WeatherTech teams for Team Penske. And he was promoted to president July 4th, 2025. Not been in the job all that long, less than a year now. And he joined in 2005. And under his leadership, a lot of those wins that we talked about, they have 3 straight Rolex 24 wins and 2 in the 12 hours of Sebring. The most recent coming just last weekend. So congratulations. That's a heck of a record that's never been duplicated. And this year, we'll talk a little bit about this. It'll be his first year as a race strategist. Please welcome up to the stage the president of the NTT INDYCAR IMSA WeatherTech teams at Penske, Jonathan Diuguid. Jonathan, come on up. And join us next, a guy from Anderson, South Carolina, a Clemson graduate. He had a master's degree, also in mechanical engineering. Thought in his youth that he wanted to be a motorcycle racer. You're still here with us, so apparently he decided not to do that. He gave that up, and then he joined on at Penske, being a data acquisition engineer, and that was in 2006. And since then, he has moved on into other roles, and he was a crew chief for the 12 team for a while. He was promoted to the vice president of operations in 2007, and under his direction, 230 race wins, 5 titles at 3 Daytona 500s. Please welcome up the president of the NASCAR side of the house at Team Penske, Michael Nelson. Come on up, Michael. Guys, have a seat. I'll read a quote here, and it kind of explains why these two guys are here. Surround yourself with people who share your vision and values, and you can achieve greatness. Does that sound pretty familiar to you, Jonathan?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thanks for having us here today. It's great to see everybody in the room who supports the motorsport industry in North Carolina. Obviously, Doug mentioned I'm a North Carolina native. I didn't come from a motorsport family or come from a motorsport background, and I've been given all the opportunities that I have to be in the position that I have, probably thanks to a lot of the people in this room. And I think that's the biggest thing, that motorsport has a thing about it where people feel it's an exclusive club, but I found quite the opposite. And I think that speaks to a lot of the efforts of everyone here. It's a very welcoming community, and every time I've been given an opportunity where I've asked the question, and I think, like you said, surround yourself with the people that you want to be around, and great things will happen. And I think that's a clear example.
Michael, we watched the sizzle reel. I read off some pretty big numbers of success that Penske has had. But all this permeates from the top and comes down. Is that truly the case there, that this is all Roger's philosophy that goes into everything?
Yeah, for sure. And it's all about the next one, right? So we never we try to enjoy the wins and the championships, but he's the first one saying, hey, I want 21 Indianapolis 500 wins or 6 NASCAR Cup championships. So he definitely leads the way with that.
It's all about the next, and that sounds like guys with the TV remote. I don't care what's on this channel. What's on the next one? So that's a good philosophy to have. This year out in Phoenix wasn't exactly a first ever. It had been done at Indy, but it was the first ever outside of Indianapolis on the road course, where NASCAR ran one day and INDYCAR ran the next day. Obviously, you guys had to be pretty excited. You won both ends of the doubleheader. Jonathan, is this something we're going to see more of since you live in the INDYCAR world? Could you see this happening? And what was your take on it?
Well, I'm not sorry for the other people in this room that are on the racetrack with us that weekend, but we did capture every both poles and both race wins, and so it was quite a dominating weekend for the team. But I think it was an amazing event and shows how IndyCar and NASCAR can work together to bring motorsports to the forefront. And whether it was people we were talking to at the track, Michael and I saw several people that said thank you and it was an amazing weekend. And I think it created both great racing for the IndyCar program, thanks to the NASCAR's running different lines and putting rubber down and things like that. But overall, the event was very well executed, and our team specifically executed quite well and had a great weekend. So I would love to have more weekends like that where we take both poles and wins both races. But, yeah.
Yeah, both ends of a doubleheader. That's pretty impressive. Michael?
Yeah, don't think we're not internally competitive either, right? So we're there. These guys get the pole, and we're like, okay, all right, we got to get the pole. Then they get the win. Then Newgarden throws it down to us the night before. Hey, we kept up our end of the bargain. You guys are going to have to bring it home. So of course we had to make that happen. And so luckily it all worked out for everybody. But yeah, there's a lot of internal competition there.
There was a lot of pressure and awkward silence and jokes at the Saturday night dinner that
That's right.
Luckily Ryan Blaney was able to deliver on the quips and things that he came back with. So it was an overall good weekend.
Well, it made for a great story, and I think it's made for a setting that we'll probably see more of that happen in the future. These teams exist under the same roof up in Mooresville, in an enormous complex. Is there any cross-pollination? Michael, I'll start with you. From the NASCAR side of the house that you run, do you guys play with Jonathan and his team?
Yeah, I mean, we've had people that have gone back and forth over time. If they want a new opportunity, that's one of the positives of having everyone there is, we have loads of experience in all facets of racing. But if there's someone who's in NASCAR and would like to try their hand at IndyCar racing, that opportunity is there when the opportunity, arises. And so we've seen quite a bit of that over time, and it's really neat. It's really cool to be able to walk across the other side of the building and talk to somebody who has 25 years of experience in IndyCar racing or sports car racing. If you just, it's fun. It's like, the bench racing is really cool at 200 Penske Way.
I'm sure there is cooperation, but like you said, there's always, hey, we just brought home this trophy. What have you guys done lately? Is there a little?
Oh yeah, well, we have some of the people here, our people here from Team Penske know that we have happy hour. It's a celebration that we do usually the Tuesday or Wednesday after a win, and so we have a game that we'll play as well. And for the Phoenix doubleheader win, the game was the Penske family feud, and so we pitted the IndyCar guys against the NASCAR guys and had a little friendly competition as well. So we can't get enough of that.
Which group won that competition, Michael?
I don't know. I don't remember.
So how did it turn out? Jonathan, you seem to have the inside scoop on how the family feud ended.
Look, I rigged the buzzer and everything for this competition. That we lost, the NASCAR side lost, but there's always next time.
No, but I think what Michael mentioned there is anytime any of our teams win, the whole team gets to celebrate, whether you're part of the sports car program or the IndyCar program or the NASCAR program. These functions at the shop are open to everybody, and we try to make it all about winning because, like Michael said, one of our biggest strengths is the multiple series we compete in. So
we talked a lot about Roger Penske at the start, and you have to. This whole conversation is permeated with his presence. But back during the COVID time, it wasn't a lot of fun, but NASCAR was the first sport to come back to life. And we started racing at empty racetracks. And it was strange, to say the least. And literally there was no security, there was no anybody, because there were no fans. There was the participants and us. So for that season only, our broadcast team decided we're just going to wear shorts and T-shirts to every race. And parked as close to the elevator as we could, did the race, and left because there was nobody there to see you. There was nobody there to check anything. So we did that. And then I went up to work for the IMS radio network to do the Brickyard 400, and some guys saw me walking in the media center there, and I had on slacks and a button-down shirt. Where are the shorts? And I said, I'm not going to have Roger Penske come up and ask me why I'm in his press box with my shorts on, looking like I'm headed to a Jimmy Buffett concert. So that's the kind of respect this organization and they have earned over the years. As we walk through this right now, one of the things I wanted to talk about, I think I mentioned this to you, we had a pre-conversation, is the look of Team Penske cars. They look different than everybody else's car. Where does that come from?
Yeah, it really starts at the top. I mean, that's Roger, and whether it's lining up the contingency decals that we had for so long and making sure everything's neat and clean and not cluttered, and it really just starts at the top. I think everybody here that knows Mr. Penske knows that.
I mean, you can look at the cars on the photo right there. The fewest contingency decals, the neatest paint schemes. There's, even without knowing, that they are Penske cars. All right, Jonathan, you're starting a new adventure this year. You're going to be the race strategist on the INDYCAR side. How does that differ from a crew chief, and what are your primary roles as a strategist? I know the nomenclature is a little bit different than what we're used to in NASCAR.
Yeah, I think it's quite similar to the role of a NASCAR crew chief, but really it's organizing the race weekend or organizing the race and making decisions on when to pit or when to put tires. But really what it's about is it's your fault if it goes wrong at the end of the day. And when the driver wins, then it's he won the race and you didn't lose it for him. But in general, you're there to execute the plays and call the playbook kind of like a head coach would. But in the end, it's all about not messing it up.
And now, is this something that you've done before your career? I know you've touched a lot of bases, or how did you come into this? This sounds fabulously interesting to me.
Yeah, you mentioned it before. I think, Michael and I took pretty similar paths in our careers, and whether or not you're in that role or not, you're always thinking about it. You're providing information to the guy who's doing the job before you, or those kind of things. And so you have exposure as you build your experience and career. And so, I've been doing it on the sports car program for a while, and as part of my career, I was able to be on the timing stand with Roger for nearly 15 years in the IndyCar program. And so being able to see him do it firsthand and work with other people that are really successful at it, you learn the way to approach it and the methods and the processes that make you successful over time, and really just implement that. Ultimately, it's about making the right decision at the right time and executing, but in general, had pretty good tutelage up to this point.
So you've been on the box with Roger for a long time. So what happens if Roger wants to pit and you don't want to pit? What's the tiebreaker there?
There's a lot of betting that goes on, to be honest. He's like, do you want to bet me how many caution laps we're going to get after this point? And after the second or third time I got it wrong, I didn't bet anymore. Just because, whether he had more information than I had or a line straight to race control or whatever, but more oftentimes than not, he was correct. And the other thing too, as well, is Roger Penske does not like to save fuel. In any race, it was we're going as fast as we can, and if we run out, that's fine, but we're going to stop and put tires and go to the front. But it was a no fuel saving race situation most of the time.
And Michael, you've been in this situation too. You were crew chief at Penske for a good while, and primarily worked with Ryan Newman. Is that the case?
Yeah, I actually a couple of years after getting started, I started in 1998, and then Ryan came along around 2000. And I got a chance to be the race engineer on his car. And so that was a lot of fun, working with the 12 team, and quite an interesting experience. When we first got started, we hit on some things and had a lot of success early on. And but we didn't know the basics as a race team. Like, we would go sit on a pole somewhere and not know how to get back to the airport after the race, So we got lost a lot those first few years.
It's a lot. It's drinking out of the fire hose, I think, is the saying. You've worked with some notable drivers. Brad Keselowski won a championship. Logano, Blaney, they all have a commonality there. They've all won championships. Ryan Newman, Kurt Busch. And is there any commonality that runs between great drivers? Because all of these people, pretty much Hall of Fame great drivers.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think there's a multitude of things each driver brings to the table. Some are better at some things than others, but at the end of the day, they have to have the raw talent to be able to make it to that level. But past that, really, is the work ethic, putting in the time, working with their teams well. And so I would say all those guys have to have those things in common to be successful.
Jonathan, what have you found out in your time working with drivers and people? Is there something that you look for that tells you this guy's a hit?
Yeah, I think Michael said it is a talent situation, but I think that's one of the things that Team Penske thrives themselves on is the goal is to put people in positions to where they can be successful, whether that's, a truck driver or a crew chief or a driver. We try to put them in situations where they can be successful, and that's what the team's built around. That's what the organization's built around, and that's the common drive of all the people that work there, and that's inclusive of the drivers. I think there's plenty of drivers that are fast. There's plenty of drivers that can win races, but there's very few drivers that can win championships, and that's where the teams separate themselves is continued performance at a high level and continued consistency to continue to win races and ultimately championships.
Michael, we talked about all the big nameplates you work with. You got a favorite in there? Somebody?
Well, I get asked this a lot, and my favorite driver is the one that won the most recent race, right? So I guess that's Ryan Blaney.
Ryan Blaney right now. Okay.
For this week.
I have to go here, so forgive me if you want to get after me later. How is Blaney getting away with the mustache? That is the question that people want an answer to. That's not
He's really getting away with it. It's kind of offensive all the time.
You want to know the real answer?
I do. I mean, that's just not what we would expect from a big driver out of Penske.
Well, I think the secret to it all is his wife likes it. That's the key, right? So
That's the key.
Yeah, she's happy, so we're happy.
I figured it was an equalization since Logano got rid of all of his hair. They let Blaney take his spare hair.
No, not really. I mean, Logano is just trying to be like the cool guys, that are here at Team Penske. So that's what that's about.
Well, it does look like he's auditioning for Breaking Bad now, by the way. So I YouTube searched both of you guys, and Michael, every time I see you on YouTube, it's a pretty good situation. You're sitting in the front of a media center with a winning driver. Does that ever get old?
No, winning never gets old. I try my best to stay out from behind the cameras if I can, but it's always fun to come in and talk about a good day that you've had, and then you sweat it out until you make sure you've cleared tech. But no, it's always good to have a great day, and hopefully there's more of those to come.
Jonathan, I had the pleasure of being at Indy for the 99th running of the 500, and I hung out with the Penske people because the whole thing was put together by Shell. What's that month or 2 weeks like, knowing the intense pressure that's put on your organization in particular to try to win that race?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's one of the longest standing races in the world, and the facility there, and especially the facility that Roger and his group have improved on and built, and the experience that the fans get when they show up there, on top of just the pressure of the 20 wins and trying to get the next one. It's really what we build up the year to. It's what IndyCars are built for. It's what, the team operates for and is a foundation and pillar of the team. So, you feel pressure at every single race you go to, and you try to approach them all the same. But that place, definitely, you walk through Gasoline Alley, and the people that have been there will tell you, on race day, it's an experience that you won't forget. And when 300,000 people are in the same place and you're walking onto the main stage, and just whether it's the helicopters flying 100 feet off the deck at the start of the race, or the popping circumstance that happens, or, back home in Indiana, you remember all those things. And the race is the pinnacle.
Yeah, I think I got the Florence Henderson edition of Back Home in Indiana.
Yeah, those were the good ones. Yeah.
Those are the good ones. What is Roger's tradition when he wins up there? Something with McDonald's? Am I imagining that, or?
I think Roger likes to go to McDonald's on any day.
Yeah.
Maybe just make sure he goes on win days. But no, we have a lot of different traditions, and celebrating a win and representing all the people that put in all the hard effort back at the shop is part of that. And like Michael said, it kind of never gets old. And, when everybody's winning, it fixes a lot of problems. And we got to update our video because all of our teams have won this year already. And I think it's, already March, but the NASCAR team and the sports car team and the IndyCar team have all won races. And so really looking forward to the rest of the season.
Nice problem to have that you got to update the video now.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a relief for us.
So in that, your organization was nice enough to give me a retirement gift a couple of years ago, and it's a montage of all the races that I had a part of that Penske won. 60 different races, all in this one picture, except for the last race that I did was Las Vegas, and Joey won. So I need another picture just to fill out the set. Michael, I understand you have some hobbies on the side. You like to tinker with Mustangs. What's going on there?
Yeah, I have a few unfinished projects. So yeah, I love old cars. So I have a few cars that I've been working on for over 20 years. I think I collect a few here and there and keep hoping that one day I'll have time to work on them. And I think of the ones I have one that runs. So I'll eventually get to them. But yeah.
What's the prospect, Jonathan, that we actually see 3 running Mustangs from Michael? Is that going to happen?
I don't know. I think, you can't ever have enough cars. It's just, whether or not they're running or not is kind of a byproduct. They're great to look at, even if they're just sitting there.
That's just the right crowd to tell that to. Before we wrap, I want to ask both of you this. People go and they work there a lifetime, it seems like. The turnover rate at Penske doesn't seem to be very big. Ian's been there 10 years, and I remember when he was an intern. So what makes that happen? Michael, why do people come there and sometimes that's their career?
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. We make it tough to get in, but we want to make it tough to leave. Hopefully, I can speak from my own experience. It's a place that that meets my own personal values. The things that we hold important are very closely associated with my own personal values. And I, like a lot of other people, have had numerous opportunities over the last number of years, and we try to promote from within. And so the people there know that if they come in and work hard and do a good job, that they'll have a chance to grow. We have I counted the other day, we have 45 people in our organization with 25 years or more of experience. So that's just a testament to Roger Penske and the team that he's built.
And how many folks do you have up at Mooresville that work there total now?
Well, when you put it all together, it's close to 500. So it's quite the number of parking spaces there on Penske Way.
That's a big economic impact too. That's a lot of families. Jonathan, what do people take away? Summation. What do people need to know about Team Penske and why you guys have been successful for 60 years?
Yeah, I think it's a company built with like-minded individuals, and we all drive to succeed, and we drive to win on the racetrack. And Roger always says he uses racing teams as the marketing arm of all his other businesses. You don't see a lot of Penske truck leasing advertisements. You don't see a lot of Penske logistics advertisements. He uses the race team to display the values that Michael talked about, and those values permeate all of the businesses that he operates in. And it's set up that way to be successful, and that's why it's been successful over 60 years, is because it's fully integrated into the approach on and off the racetrack, and it's built of a team of like-minded individuals. And that's why the success continues over decades, is because it's a focal point.
Well, guys, thanks so much for your time. How about a nice round of applause now for Michael Nelson, Jonathan Diuguid. Hang out on stage here. We're going to bring up Kevin Slizer from the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and we're going to talk a little bit about 60 years at Penske and what they've got going on in Uptown. Got to get that right. Charlotte.
Uptown Charlotte.
Yeah, there you go.
No downtown.
All right. Tell us what's happening.
Yeah, well, I'd be remiss if I first didn't thank so many people in this room. It is our mission to be the recognized home for the history of the sport. And everybody from the King sitting over there to Doug Yates to the Woods to Ray, and I'm probably going to risk leaving someone out, the Hendricks of the world. They are so generous with their time, with their priceless assets. They open up their shops, they open up their museums, but most importantly, they open up their arms and they open up their hearts to the NASCAR Hall of Fame. So I want to start out just looking around this room, realizing if not for you all, and including Team Penske that we're going to talk about in a minute, we wouldn't have such a great venue uptown. I'm probably leaving people out of this room at some risk, but just want to start out saying that. So we're really excited. Team Penske approached us about a year ago. Ian, you were in a couple of fundamental meetings last summer, and they said, we want to celebrate our 60th. I said, that's not possible. We just celebrated your 50th, and I haven't aged 10 years since we did that. But sure enough, we looked at the calendar. So we've just been really excited to work with the team.
And tell us a little bit about what you're doing then with the team.
Yeah, for sure. So want to give a lot of credit to Tom Jensen on our side and Wendy Belk and Jennifer Spitzer, who have led the efforts on the Hall of Fame side. But like I said, it's been a great partnership. They work with Tammy, Sasha over at Team Penske, really putting together some priceless artifacts, some really cool cars. The fun thing about working with Team Penske is we love our NASCAR full-bodied cars. That's what pays the bills. But boy, we bring your stuff in here and suddenly we get some cool open wheel stuff. The Porsche that you saw up there is going to be in the building. I'm scared to even breathe on it. So we will rope that off and protect that.
One of one.
It's one of one. So it's, yeah, that's thanks. If I wasn't nervous before, I'm nervous now. But we won't drive it around, so don't worry about that. So we're gonna have, you know, the first F1 chassis that you all built, first NASCAR chassis, Rusty Wallace's car. So great selection, and then artifacts. You know, Tom has put together milestone wins, and you know, we're gonna put all that together. So have a really cool mix of artifacts, cars, and videos.
I would love to see the exhibit. I don't want to be in the same room with the one of one car because I know how things work. I'll fall and I'll never be forgiven. Thanks a bunch, Kevin. Appreciate it. Look forward to seeing the exhibit.
Absolutely, and we plan on opening it up the Thursday before the 600, so May 21st. Put a pin in the calendar. Come on by and see us, and we look forward to celebrating Penske's 60th anniversary.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Kevin. On behalf of the executive director, Chad, did you want to have a closing comment? I'm good to close it out. All right. On behalf of the executive director, Chad Willis, and the board of the NCMA, thank you for coming out. This has been a wonderful, and they're already planning the next luncheon for next year. So they're way ahead of the curve. Everybody have a great time, and good luck the rest of the season. Good luck to Team Penske. When we come back, if we get you back here, you talk about more wins.